So I'm so glad you could join me again. I'm always so excited when you join us for a Kingdom Mentor podcast episode, whether it's live on camera or you're listening some week later. We're really passionate about our voice here, as you know, at the Kingdom Mentor podcast, and love to share great voices and marketing stuff. So, will you please help me welcome Ferris C., co founder of Girl Power Alliance, and also the heartbeat behind the media. Now, I got to tell you this, Ferris. Like, I came into Girl Power Alliance last February by Molly and kind of just had to weed through the stuff. And I kept seeing this name Ferris behind this amazing marketing stuff. And I'm like, dang, who is this girl? She's good. You don't have to know marketing to work this business. And there you are. Then last October, I got to meet you in person. That was a treat. It's like, going into the Speaker Academy, and there she is behind the scenes, taking pictures, monitoring the video, monitoring everything. And I think you were the one. I got up there and I had a fuzzy sound, and you're like, wait, we got to stop it because I was being recorded. So,
Mhm.
Ferris, it is so awesome to have you here, girl. I'm so happy that you could join
I'm
us.
so glad that I'm here, and thank you so much for all the kind words.
Yeah.
I literally meeting you, I was just like, oh, I was like, I need a Theresa in my life. So it was so
Amen.
exciting.
You got me, girl. You got me. I said Girl Power Alliance and marketing, but you're an amazing wife
Mm.
and you're an amazing daughter. Ferris, you guys like put her daughter to work to kind of learn the ins and out really of marketplace and what it means that her mama's doing with Girl Power Alliance. That was impactful for all of us. Did you notice that? I mean, the impact of your daughter and the way you led her and the way she was just a go-getter. I think that impacted all of us because most of us were moms. We're like, oh, that is so good. Sorry, my cat wants to join us. Let's go ahead. Go ahead. Say hi to Ferris. Okay, guy. You know what
Uh,
it is? Just so you know, your voice carries a cadence, and my cat seems to like people that I like, and then he wants to get involved.
she's like, hey, who is
Anyway,
it? I want to see what's going
I
on.
digress. Okay, so Ferris, tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe your journey your journey into marketing. Maybe that's what would be a good place. I'm just fascinated. I know there's other journeys in your life.
Yeah, gosh, it's nothing but a God calling.
Okay.
You don't really, I think for me, you don't really understand why you're learning certain things along the way because you're not
Yeah.
really sure how they're going to be used or utilized later on in life.
Right.
And all of the years of experience that I've had in customer service, all the years I've had
Mm,
around technology, and just being really kind of that one-on-one and doing all those things in the details. It's all the
okay.
small things in the details, and it really led me, to GPA. And
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to
I
figure it
believe
out.
it.
I'm going to somehow, some way, it is not going to ever overcome me. And I
Yeah.
will definitely, go down that route. And so it's over 20 plus years in customer service. It was
Wow.
definitely, knowing what people are looking for, what is going
Yeah.
to definitely pique their interest, something that is going to be new and fresh, is super important. And so with all of that, it's coming into GPA when I first started, it's I just wanted to help any way I could,
Wow.
and that was just a little bit of here, a little bit of that. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
really what it is now. And
Wow.
as it evolved, it was
Yeah.
like, oh gosh, like I worked with this person so that I
Mm.
could know this. And
Ah,
oh, well, I worked with this person for a short amount of time that used this. Well, I already know how to do that.
wow.
So
That's so cool.
it's pretty surreal to be like, wow, like it almost puts that perspective of, people are only in your life for a season. It may not
Mm.
be something that's forever. And all
Right.
those seasons that I had with different people throughout the years, all of that has culminated to using all of that here
Wow.
inside of Pro Power Alliance.
Yeah. What was your journey like before? What was your journey before Girl Power Alliance? And then what was the the tipping point to go all in with Girl Power and help them as a co-founder?
Yeah. So I worked at a wedding chapel here. I live in Las Vegas. So
Okay.
woo, wedding bells and all the flashing lights. So I worked
Yeah.
at a wedding chapel and I was the assistant manager at a very, very well known old chapel here in town.
Very
And
cool.
it's, I never thought that I would kind of go into entrepreneurship. It was never
Yeah.
something. I always told myself, yeah, I'm going to work a 9 to 5 and, maybe get a retirement. And that's just how I'm going to live my life. And it wasn't really anything I was super passionate about. But when
Wow.
I was at my job, I did my very, very best.
Hmm.
And I gave it everything that I could. It may not
Wow.
necessarily been my dream. And we talk a lot about how your dreamer is turned off here at Girl Power Alliance. And that was for sure the case for me. I didn't really have dreams of what I wanted to be and what I wanted to aspire to. And like, oh, this is just a stepping stone to that. So I just kind of was going through the motions. And, when COVID happened, and
Yeah.
I sometimes don't like talking about it, but for me, it was so pivotal
Sure.
for what I was being prepared for. And I was the first to be let go when everything shut down.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, okay, either one, I can sit here and kind of wait and just be like, okay, well, I can't wait till I go back, or I
Yeah.
can do something completely different.
Wow.
And I knew God really put me in that position because number one, I needed to get closer to him. I had
Okay.
kind of walked away a little bit. Not that he wasn't there, but I
Yeah.
had definitely just kind of flew by the seat of my pants. I wasn't
Yeah.
really in the word. I wasn't really praying as much as I should have. I was
Yeah.
just kind of doing the do.
Sure.
And
You
so I really felt that he yanked me from that and was
wow.
like, okay, now we're going to place you and, insert meeting Michelle. And
Yeah.
it was from a friend of mine. And she was like, yeah, she's like, maybe you could help her with some things. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Might as
Right.
well. Maybe we'll do some
Okay.
admin stuff, or we'll do a
Yeah.
little social media, or, just kind of see what happens. And it's just continued to evolve. And the more and more I built this relationship with Michelle inside
Mm.
of GPA, and she was like, yeah, she's like, this is what you're going to do. She's like, this is what I see. She was like, this
Yeah.
is what I see for you. And I'm
So
like, what?
beautiful.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't see that. And it's
I love
turned
it.
into, what it is now. It's pretty
Yeah.
remarkable.
I love how God pulls us out of just existing. I mean, so often when
Right.
we get to that struggle, that season, we're just going to exist instead of go out and live. And I love this story because it really was Michelle who called out the gold in you. She has a way
Yeah.
of doing that, doesn't she? And they're like, no, you're going to come along with us. And of course, you get around the community of Girl Power Alliance, and what ends up turns out, you just find your season, and you realize your season is so connected to your relationship with God. You really can't do one without the other. So
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That
I
is
was I
really
was pretty
awesome.
beat down. I was pretty beat down when I met Michelle. And
Yeah,
it's
it's honest.
it's pretty incredible. I had a lot of
Yeah.
growth that I had to go through. I definitely had to push myself to, get out of a mindset that I wasn't good enough. And I
Mm,
really carried her belief in me for a really
yeah.
long time
Wow.
until, I went through the steps of growth and went
Yeah.
through Radiant Leadership Academy multiple times and
Did you
went
good.
and did courses. And
Oh,
now being on
so
the back end, I see all this stuff and just
you see all
being fully submersed into it is crucial. So
yeah.
it's she definitely, we met at a time where God was like, yeah, you're gonna need to carry a little belief to get you to
So
where I need
good.
you to be. So
Yeah.
forever, forever grateful for that.
Yeah. So Ferris is talking about our CEO, Michelle Schaefer. She was on one of our podcasts. You got to check that. But I got my own honest story, Ferris. I joined in February and I kind of slipped
Mhm.
through the cracks.
Yeah.
Molly brought me in, but no one really pushed me to Radiant Leadership Academy. I did push myself to the Speaker Academy because I was interested in that. So this is what I was going to do. Honest to goodness. I was going to just step away quietly after
Yeah.
Speaker Academy because,
I heard. I heard.
yeah, so um, I kind of mentioned it to Molly, but Molly gave me that pep talk. Well, if I can't convince you now, I'm not going to keep convincing you, right straight to the point. It's like, okay. Then I think it was the second day I went up to Michelle and I said, Michelle, I started to see Michelle on stage, and we went into the conference, and I saw like Michelle Tufford. I'm like, these are the people I'm supposed to be aligned with. But
Yeah.
anyway, Michelle, I came up to Michelle, and right away blew me away with her kindness because I had only
Mhm.
seen her. Excuse my voice. I'd only seen her on camera, and
Right.
the way she welcomed me, I mean, she really, really welcomed me and had the girls praying for me. But anyway, so I looked at her and I said, I need to work. I need to go ahead and work this business. I said, but I don't have anyone, excuse the expression, above me as my trainer, as my coach. She looked at me. She goes, "Who do you want?" I said, "Michelle Tufford." She goes, "Give me 30 minutes." Came back. You got her. You don't just get placed under who you want to get placed. But
Yeah.
then you went into activate, Ferris, and you know how your heart says, "Wait a minute. These are the people I want to be aligned with."
Yeah.
The Michelles, the Ferrises, the Lemons, the all the people that got up on stage, you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, okay. And I had
Yeah.
a speaking business. And then as I came home and I went all in, I'm like, what was I thinking? This fits right in, duh,
Yeah.
with my speaking business. So I'm just giving testimony.
Mm.
We both are to Michelle
Mm.
Schaefer, who's, really just gives her all out for these ladies. I mean, once you meet her and she knows your name, you're her friend forever. And
Yeah.
sometimes you need that. Do you agree with that little testimony?
I it's so funny that you say that because there were so many moments where I'd kind of heard from Molly with you and you're like, yeah, I have this thing afterwards or I have this going on and I was like, no, just give her another day. Give
No,
her another
no.
day here. Let her get submersed inside to see because and it's
Oh, that's
I
so good.
I talk to so many people about it and
Yeah.
it's Michelle is definitely the vessel,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
She's the messenger for the big
Yeah.
message. And, she's really kind of paved this way for all of us. And it's such a beautiful thing to take what you have and be like, wait, it
Yeah.
matches with this and
Oh,
it's so aligned. And, we've had so many of those aha moments. And I like to call it the GPA bubble.
yeah.
And don't be confused with a cult because that's not what we are.
No, no, we're
Um,
kingdom all the way,
but
man.
when you're in it, you feel it and you feel
Yeah.
different and you feel
Yeah.
seen and you feel
Ooh,
appreciated and you take
ooh,
that and you carry that out into the rest of the
mm,
world and that there's no ego and
yeah.
there's nothing that's going to stop you because you have so many people that are going to pull you out of your mess and say,
Yeah.
hey, like don't forget who you are and why you're
Yeah.
here and what your true purpose is here. And I think that's so, so important and so needed in this time. And it's so beautiful to hear that, you felt that
Yeah.
because
Oh
I
my
also
gosh.
feel that it has to do with your growth and where you're at in your journey. Some people
Yeah.
may not get it right away. Um,
Right.
one thing I have noticed over the years is that sometimes growth is it's a little scary for people because you got to
Okay.
dig and you
Yeah.
got to release some things and it can be painful to accept certain things and
Right.
say, oh, maybe I need to shed that, maybe
Yeah.
I need to look into that a little bit more. And it can be a painful process, but it's such a
Sure.
beautiful outcome on the other
Mm,
side. And once you're in it, I mean, you really don't want to go anywhere else and you just
yeah.
you keep going back into that. And I know that if I'm not submerged, and I mean,
Mm,
yes, I'm a co-founder, yes, I'm, all of this, but you can get disconnected. And when
yeah,
you're not submerged, I feel it. I go,
yeah,
oh no, I need to get on these calls. I need
yeah,
to talk to some good counsel. I need to
yeah,
reach out to some people. I had a few ladies call me yesterday. They're like, hey, I haven't heard from you. And you've been on my heart. And I'm like, well, I
Mm.
have a story for you. And so it's so good to
Oh, that's good.
just make sure that you have that. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
so good.
important because each of us have something just a little bit different. We have one
Yeah,
goal, right? But we
yeah,
all have something a little bit different to bring to
mm,
the table that's going to continue the push and
yeah,
continue pushing that boundary. And I had said it
so good.
activate. I
Yeah,
feel that we broke something open that had
ooh,
been
yeah.
sealed.
Can
It had literally
feel the
shattered,
Holy
and
Spirit. Yeah.
these
Whew,
demons are fleeing. They're like,
yeah.
no, they're like, no, what's
Making
happening? So
money,
I'm excited.
yeah. Who I felt it too. Making money is spiritual warfare, girl. Let me tell you, we
Woo,
kick some butts in there. You know, I
right.
got to tell you this. I got some therapy on this subject, but I thought finding your people was a myth. And I read this book by Jenny Allen, had to stop halfway through because I'm like, I don't, this is just not real.
Hmm.
And then I entered the realm of kingdom with Girl Power Alliance, and I'm like, I think I found my people, And like I said, I had some therapy. And speaking of therapy, I didn't go to Radiant Leadership Academy because I didn't know it was there. I mean, I kind of
Right.
did, okay, and I didn't have anyone to push me. But I will say, God, I can look back and say, wow, God, you just worked this out. I did. I lost my husband in June, and it was a rough marriage, as you know,
Yeah.
as I threw up the first Radiant speaker practice. And I needed like one-on-one. And I found a neurocycle facilitator, and she became my best friend, Alana Van Deventer. And week after week, we're talking just one-on-one, making me pull out, trauma stays in your body. I'm sure
Mm,
the Radiant Leader Academy, you could get that. But I think at my particular time, I needed that one-on-one. And if I would have
yeah.
gone into Radiant Leader Academy, I think I would have not found the help and not found like really an amazing woman who celebrates you and who speaks into your life and then just becomes a friend. So, God works
Yeah.
everything out. That's for sure. What would you
I
say to
can
someone?
relate to that. I can relate to that for
I think
sure.
you
It's
can relate to
sometimes
that. Yeah.
we have to do some deeper work to really
Yeah.
kind of
No doubt.
overcome to get rid
Yeah.
of those deep rooted things. And I
Really.
think
Yeah.
that's for the long time. It's I think a lot of women sometimes feel like, oh well, I'm not going to fit in
Oh, yeah.
because she looks this way or she acts this way or her
Yeah.
cadence is this way. Maybe her influence is bigger than mine. And that was something that I kind of struggled with in the beginning of GPA because I'm like,
I
okay,
can
who am I?
understand that. Yeah.
Who am I? I feel like I have all this baggage, I have all this trauma, I have all these stories that I've told
Yeah.
myself. And the more and more we started to grow, and the more I started to grow and let go of those things and change, generations, to
Mm,
come for my family and break
yeah.
chains and all of this stuff, I realized that,
Mm,
you know, there's a lot of women that are like me and their stories are just a little bit different.
yeah.
But I think sometimes we can tend to feel like we're all alone,
Yes.
that we don't endure, certain pain. You may
Yeah.
see somebody on the outside and say, oh well, look at them, and it's a little bit of a judgment, a little bit, because you're
Yeah.
like, oh well, they have it all together, look at their life. But in reality, the stories that I heard over the
Mm.
last few months
Whew.
really opened my eyes
Yeah.
to, oh, there are more women like me.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
bit different how they got to where they are.
Yeah.
Um, but we can relate on so many levels. And it goes to, these are my people.
Yes. Yeah. I think you get lined up. I think Girl Power Alliance is very big on making sure you know who your identity is in Christ. And what's beautiful about that, we all have areas of trauma. We all have areas of just brutal stuff. But as
Mm-hmm.
we rise up in our identity and really find our voice again, we get to speak to the person we once were. So
Right.
Ferris, you are so valuable because of what you have come out of, and you come out, abiding in Christ, and you get to speak to people that I could never speak to with
Right.
your story. So I think the imposter syndrome hits in. Who am I to do this?
Right.
And I think those are normal battles. But as
Mhm.
we let people know, as we let the girls know, let the women know, or let people that are interested in know, hey, you don't have to have your eyes crossed or all that. And I'll be honest, I'm thinking before I was going, I was like, once again, I'm talking to my friend about what I'm going to wear. I know this is kind of a lot of girly stuff. I said, she goes, well, how do you feel in a skirt? I said, I feel okay. I'm not afraid to be feminine. Long story short, we just decided that my white high tops will be my brand.
I
Good.
love it so much. I remember
Good.
saying something to you. I said, I love that you're doing that
Yeah.
because I have the same type of thing. As much as I love doing makeup and hair and all of the things,
Yeah.
I love me some jeans and
Yeah.
some nice tennis shoes and maybe a
Exactly.
sweater,
Maybe a
like, and
braid.
maybe a t-shirt. Like, so I love that you did that. I
Yeah.
was like, yes. I was like, I love that so much.
Now, once again, I had to go to therapy to get to that place. But what it is
Yeah.
when you learn your authentic self and then you walk in your authentic self, then what happens? I really think this is what happens, Ferris. I think you empty out and then the Holy Spirit comes in and he can do
Mm,
whatever he wants.
mm,
I went to another conference after that mainstream. I said, I don't care. I see everyone dressed up. Still walked in with my tennis shoes every day. And, sometimes it's good to feel good. I mean, to feel like,
yeah.
okay, but this was like a totally different. I had to be like almost undercover with Jesus in the vessel. And then there was a part where we got up on stage, and that fun. And for 30 seconds, we had to say who we are and yada, yada. And then we had to say what our secret power was. Now, this is a mainstream. I don't know if there's any Christians in there. I haven't found them yet. So when it came to my superpower, I said, my superpower is my voice that shifts atmospheres. And then I paused and I said, it's not me that does that. It's he who lives in me. And all of a sudden there was like surprise to like, oh, okay, we can get on that.
Yeah.
And then then
Oh,
a few Christians found me and are like, hey, it was an AI and build your brand type thing. And
yeah.
that's just what I've invested in because I'm so passionate to help
Yeah.
women realize they can do this without so much time if they just learn some basic AI. That's another subject. But anyway,
We can
so
get all
I'm glad.
technical.
And of course, I found my people so quickly. My prayer was one of my prayers of going into Radiant Speaker Academy. And you can do this too if you're going to the academy and you haven't gone yet. I said, God, I just want to meet one person that I really connect with. So
Mm.
the first night I met my roommate, and it was Virginia Hatfield, the Hatfield Liquid.
Oh,
So boom, I'm like, wow, that was quick. And then,
oh,
then the other prayer was just like, I thought, even if I'm not interested in what they're talking about, let me be present and let me just be me. And the Radiant Speaker Academy, the first day was so full of nerves. I wish I would have stayed
mm,
in there more. But then the second one, I stayed for every one of those talks. And
mm.
Ferris will attest to this. It was like revival. I
Oh,
mean, I mean,
there's no way to
there was,
really
eh,
encapsulate what transpired in that
yeah,
room.
really true.
It's there,
Whew.
I mean, and I was the same as you,
Were you?
I was kind of preparing for Activate and
Okay.
making sure we had all the things and
Yeah.
tickets were still coming in and I'm doing this back end stuff and I kind
Okay.
of pop in on day one to kind of check it
Yeah.
out and um it's I was sitting there listening and I'm like, oh my gosh. So then on day two, I'm like, I don't want to leave my seat because this
So
is
good.
too rich. And there was so much healing
Oh gosh.
that took place in that room that it was like, they talk about borrowing faith and borrowing belief. And it was like I needed all of that to
Yeah.
just encapsulate. And
Oh,
there really are no words to
yeah.
describe what happened there.
Yeah.
It was very profound.
You're having the same reaction that Michelle Schaefer had. She goes, I just don't have words for that. If you're
Yeah.
wondering what we're talking about, Girl Power Alliance is available to you. Inside the ambassador, you have a Radiant Leadership Academy. You get another leadership coaching academy, and they just added the Radiant Speaker Academy. And the men's group is getting started this January. And the reason I'm saying all that, because I know there are a lot of people that know they have a message.
Mm,
And I said this is one of the safest places you can go to learn.
mm,
Man or woman, You may be pretty good at speaking. Believe me, there's something that happens when you step on the kingdom impact stage. And I just pulling that in, Ferris, because I do know, I mean, I talk to a lot of people, but I do know people who want a TED talk or,
Yeah.
want this or that. And I was talking to a gentleman who actually helps people get a TED talk. And he's like, and he wanted to collaborate. I'm thinking men's power. I'm like, can I sign up men on men's, men's side? Yes, you can.
Yes.
Back to just being safe. Ferris, you guys made that safe.
Yeah.
That was neat. I had spoke before. The hardest problem was just keeping it under 10 minutes. Of course, I
Yeah.
had so much to throw up the first day. We had to get that straightened out. But I just really think you guys provided, all of you did, from Savannah to you to the four coaches. You guys just provided a safe place.
Yeah.
Could you see that we were like, some ladies went from having notes the first day to throwing out the notes on stage and being able, some of them kept their notes, so it's okay. We're not saying you have to be up there and be perfect, but I
Right.
just think it's a safe place. And I think as a marketing person, this, you got to be able to where are people, they're on social media. So the more you can prepare yourself to speak into a camera as if you're on stage, the more the stages will line up for you, if that's really what you want to do. But I think we have a responsibility as kingdom women to represent ourselves well. And
Right.
I really think the Speaker Academy, probably, with the Leadership Academy in there, really helps people do that. Do you see that now? Because you can look back and say, wow. I mean, do you
Yeah.
see that?
It, it's it's such a beautiful thing to see when I feel that each time a woman shares their story, whether it's the first time or the second time,
Right.
it's another part of them, becomes ignited.
Wow.
And, you talk about how, we made it a safe space.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it's giving other people, whether you're a man or a woman, that confidence to know that no
Yeah.
matter what you say here, you're going to be heard.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people speak and they just speak to just say words.
Hmm.
But when you speak your true self,
Yeah.
it changes the way that you are, I mean, through your DNA. It
Yeah.
changes
That's
the
so true.
things, yeah, the things that you've
Yeah.
been told maybe since you were a child. And a lot of the women for this, first, round of it, I really felt that each one of them needed to say what they had to say, including yourself. You
Yeah.
had to get that out. And a lot of the times you heard, well, this is the first time I'm ever sharing this.
It
And
was.
to
Yeah.
feel that, you know, not only were they confident enough, even if you were just to borrow it from everybody in that room,
Yeah.
it was for sure something that needed to be done,
Yeah.
because now that same exact story is not going to be told that way. It's
So
going to
good.
be told as a moment in time that
Mm.
no longer defines
Ooh. Huh.
who
Preach it, girl.
they truly are and who you truly
Yes.
are. And I can definitely say for you,
Yeah.
that first day I was like, wow, I would have never seen that. I would have never thought that. I would have never, and then by day 2, I was like, look at that.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
that was
it's
20 minutes of the coaches like gently saying, okay, we didn't know that was going on, but basically I
but
threw
yeah,
up.
and it's such a beautiful thing with the coaches,
Wow.
to really kind of sit back and,
Yeah.
it's such a different environment. And, I think so many people are used to be like, hey, are you up for constructive criticism? Like, we got to
Mm.
throw that out. Like, that has such a negative,
Yeah.
annotation on the back of it,
Yeah.
that, here at RSA, it was like, "Hey, I heard you. Can you go a little deeper?
Yeah. Oh, it's so gentle.
Hey, I heard that. Could you maybe, explain how you got from here to here?"
I got a lot of
And
that.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful
Oh,
to see
yeah.
that
Did you
each
think?
woman carried that
Oh,
confidence to where, in a sense, I almost caution to say this, but I'm gonna say it because the spirit's like, say it. Like, you're no longer afraid.
yeah. No, that's good.
You're no longer afraid to share the pain. You're
Yeah,
no longer afraid to share the hurt
yeah.
and what you've endured because you're on the other side.
Yeah. You know what? And another way to say that I saw, each one of those, there were four judges, or I don't know if you call them judges, but four people: Molly, Shay, Lisa, and Michelle. They're all at the table. Okay. And I mean, they spent 20 minutes with me, but it wasn't like, oh, I can't believe you said that, or you need to bring this around. It was like, Theresa, okay, you've got a story here. But we
Mm,
didn't know this was going on. I was trying to
yeah.
talk really about 23 years of marriage. Okay. And and I just like, and then I wanted to have my 3 points anyway. So when you go to the Speaker Academy, let me assure you though, you do go through 9 weeks online where
Mhm.
you are learning from Molly and then Lisa and then Michelle. I don't know if Shay's going to be online, but I mean, you really are, you're not just going out on stage and flapping like a duck. You
Right.
really are getting armed. You get a chance to practice it on video. So, everyone I've talked to, Ferris, has really lit that this was an event like none other. In fact, Michelle says, I almost couldn't go into Activate. I was still on this radiant speaker high, and then we went to
Yeah.
Activate's our conference. But in fact, she said she might put it in June or something. And I thought, well, that might be a good idea because
Yeah.
it's so power packed. But I'm just passionate about that because I really want to see people find their voice. If they only find it on online, that's great. Because really, I'm really big. I used to think brand was just colors and nice fonts in your logo. No, brand's who you represent. And think
Mm,
about that. Michelle and I were voicemailing that. Think about that, Michelle Tufford. We get the honor of representing Christ,
mhm.
Jesus, on the video. We may not say Jesus, Jesus. We may see peanut butter and someone gets saved because they got the anointing. That is
Right.
such an honor. And I think Girl Power Alliance and you leading the way really help women, maybe who I can't do it because I'm not into media. No, they really take their hand and say, this is how you can represent yourself. Let me give you some scripts. Let me
Yeah.
let you say it in your own word. Talk to Theresa. She'll have you use Chat GPT to sound like yourself. I mean, there's just, I'm not communication. I just threw that in because I'm so passionate
Yeah,
about it.
no, of course. I mean, but that's what it's about, right? That's what
Yeah,
about it. It's there's so much of like, oh well, this is going to cost you if you do this, and I've been involved with so many different companies and so many different avenues that it's we want to make sure that everything is available to you. We
yeah.
talk a lot about leverage, lever the
Mm,
knowledge of other creators, very much like
mm,
yourself. Like,
mm.
if that's just helping somebody with chat GPT, if that's just, help eliminating the workload for somebody,
Yeah,
because each and every one of us has such a busy life in general. We want to be
yeah.
fully present with our families. We want to be
Mm,
able to, if we want to sit on the couch one day and
yeah.
literally binge watch a TV show because we
Come
want to have
on.
that peace, then we want to be able to give you that ability to do that so that you are fully equipped and hey, you may not be tech savvy, you may not be a writer, you may not know how to build certain things online, but all of that is already done for you, and
Done
it's
for you.
very rare to find that and to find that collaboration and to find these tools and all these resources available at your fingertips, because
No
it's
doubt.
it's something we wanted to change. We wanted to
So
change
good.
the way the business was done and how people succeed, and it's only fair that everybody succeeds to their
Yeah.
highest level that is possible for them.
Right, exactly. And there is a price to this. Michelle Tufford and I were talking about this because we were in marketing. We paid big amounts. This
Hmm.
is so reasonable for what you get. I mean,
Right.
yeah, you get the community, you get the support, but my goodness, they rolled out an opt-in. If you don't know what an opt-in is, or if you do, that's a game changer. They roll out these things that you basically just have to find creative ways to share with your friends, or share with people online that aren't your friends and they become your friends. So I can't say that enough from a marketing perspective. And I will say that I constantly work to make it duplicatable. So I may be using something here. I don't expect you to, but I think making it duplicatable means you come under a leader who's not going to just blow you away with her marketing skills. She's going to come right alongside you and say, "Hey, let's do it this way." I mean, that's what Michelle's doing with me.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not wording it right, I mean, just good
Mhm.
stuff. And then you really get companionship that someone's believing for you.
Yeah.
Someone's working with you. So I
Yeah.
can't say enough. I can't believe I was going to drop it.
God had other plans for you.
Yeah, girl, when I saw people like you and Michelle and people on stage, there was like something just hit me in my deep core of myself. And I'm like, these faith influencers, they're the people I want to be aligned with. And it just was, that's it. Now,
Amen.
granted, I got to go through the stages of building I'm a major pivot in some ways, but in some ways it isn't. So I got to get people used to me saying the word Girl Power Alliance. So there's a little pivot, but and I really appreciate you, Ferris. Just we can freely share about it without sliming anyone. I hope someone gets the excitement of what we're talking about. And if you're a speaker, come on. In fact, I'm speaking with Lisa next in the next hour, who's one of the mentors. So I appreciate that because you're involved in everything, but I appreciate that you share it, you saw it, and you share the wonderment of that speaker
Hey,
academy.
it's such an honor to be here with you, to speak with
Yeah,
you, to be, friends with you, and
yes, you're
to meet
such.
you. And it's really the honor is all mine and God's, to be
Oh, well, you
honest.
were such a bright spot for me. You always had a hug or a smile or a laugh and something stupid I did, but I just really, I
You
was
gotta
so
have a little
grateful.
fun in there.
Yeah, I was so grateful because I didn't get to meet you, and then I got to meet you. I'm sorry, guys, we're fan clubbing on each other, but it was that's just how special it is. And to meet Michelle in person, Schaefer, and all I saw was on the screen, and then to have someone wrap their, give you a hug and call you by name, you're seen and known. Sometimes people, sometimes you need to invest in yourself. And then the benefit is you get to be seen and known. And
Yeah.
what about residual income? That might be something that could be a game changer for this Christmas. Now, I'm going to deviate, just take a right turn. Let's talk about, it's a part of GPA, but it's not a part of the membership. Let's just end this with a little bit excitement about the merch. The merch, I
Woo!
should have been wearing my shirt.
I'm
Sorry.
wearing
Yeah.
some.
Are you? So tell us about that. That's just such a
Oh
fun
goodness, the
thing.
merch, the GPA merch. So we just launched officially the GPA merch, and we've had merch over the years. We've had it throughout
Yes.
the years, and we started it off real slow, and we just said, okay, let's slap a few designs here, and let's see how this works out. And it really started with the jackets. It started
Is
with
that
the
where it
jean
started? Yeah,
jackets.
they are
That's
cool.
where it
Okay.
started. It was, we really wanted to make a statement, and it started with the jackets. And as we were going into this second annual event and activate, it was like, okay, let's bring something new and fresh. Let's do
Yeah.
something different. Let's really take a stand and just have something fun. Have these women wearing some of the gear and have fun with it. And it it really turned into something remarkable. I remember telling Michelle, I said, I said, we could really take this somewhere else. We could really take this, outside the bounds that I think we're playing a little small. Um,
Oh,
and we got connected with Jill, and Jill happened to have so much expertise in merch and boutiques and clothing, and it was such a divine God appointment with that. And it's literally now
I,
it's
I, I,
official.
I'm
Yeah.
sharing some of the merch
Yes, it's
while we're
literally
on.
just
I'm trying
taken
to
off.
find.
It is
So,
literally taken off to a point
so look
where
at that,
we
guys. Yeah.
have, yeah, such beautiful images and this is available to anybody. So
Mm,
it's not just localized here inside the GPA
yeah.
community. It is
Right.
localized to anybody and everybody that loves clothing. Someone
Yeah.
who was in customer service for as long as I've been, I told Michelle, I said, this is going to be its own, extension,
Right.
and
No
it's going
doubt.
to move by leaps and bounds. And man, we've when we first had all of this, we had about, I'd say about 50 to 60 women. As of today, we have 4,000 GPA
Wow.
merch affiliates.
That's awesome. That is so cool. And you know what's also cool is we can kind of minister to them. I minister to them. We can kind of share the overflow of Girl Power Alliance with them. And I do know they're equipping them too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not just saying, here, take the link and do it yourself. There's some equipping. And
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
Everything's been prayed over. Everything
Yeah.
has been,
So
carefully crafted, and it's all in
yeah.
his work and design. And it wouldn't, if he didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't
Yeah.
have gone in
It's
the
awesome.
direction. So we're excited. We're super excited.
And if that's something maybe you want to put that tap your feet in the water of Girl Power Alliance, I put on my thing, I send, hey T, say hey T, and I'll send you or I'll message you the link so you can
Yeah.
get a part of that because
And it's
that's
free. It's free
yeah,
to
and it's
join.
free.
That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing.
thank you.
Everybody loves free.
Everybody loves free. And I have my husband's oldest daughter. I just loved how she took it and ran with it because she's just that kind of, but she's a single mom. She works hard. She owns her own cleaning business. She comes home bone tired. But what I love about her, she knows a good thing. And next thing I know, I'm seeing her on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, go. Make it easy, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's nothing more I'd love for her than to have some extra money
Amazing.
for Christmas. And who knows, some of these women can probably get so freaky good at it that is really a substantial another stream of income. So thanks for talking about that. First I thought it was a distraction. Like this is distracting. I'm trying to build my business, and once
It
again,
all goes together. It's all
Michelle
part of his
came
plan.
in and had a little talk with me, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm in. I love our leaders. I'm telling you what. Well, this has been so much fun. Wow, I just feel like I had a cup of coffee with you. And I love you, Ferris. I so
Loves
appreciate
you.
you. You're such a mighty woman of power. You are worthy. You are called. You are chosen. Ferris, you are enough, girl. I mean, I really, really appreciate you. And I just pray God continues just to break through the cruddy trauma like me, and just that trauma becomes pathways for new experiences, for new growth, for new relationships, and for an intimacy with Jesus that you would not have experienced if you hadn't gone through the hell. I really believe sometimes that can happen. So I pray that for you. And why does the conference have to be so far away? We need them twice a year.
I know.
But the good thing about media is I get to see you on Instagram. I get to see you in calls. So God is good.
Amen.
That was
It was
fun.
such a pleasure. Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah.
It's
So
like I
cool.
said, the pleasure is all mine, and it's I love that you are here, and I can't wait to see what you do and how much you grow.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're listening to the Kingdom Mentor podcast. I'm Theresa Croft. Hey, if this really rocked your boat, will you write a review? You can go to ratethisreview.com. You know why I say that? It's not for a pat on the backs, but it's for that this message would go to more places. So thank you so much. I'll talk to you in the next episode. And hey,